That's why you asked me. I said, well, Cargill's kind of down 160 feet. The end is pulled highly up, but 160 feet. If I would put 160 feet down, then
All right. Sounds like
Thank you. They are. They're kids.
kids go give less than.
They are so helpful.
All right, we're ready to go. 7 o'clock.
stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to welcome everybody to the new year. We all made it. We ask for a roll call.
Mayor Cedar and Member Paul are absent today. Kinsfater,
Here.
Kleeman,
Here.
Kufa,
Here.
Laporte,
Here.
Bolts.
Here.
Motion to excuse Member Paul and Mayor Cedar.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Next portion of the agenda is the minutes from December 20th, regular and closed session. Motion, we're asking for approval.
Motion to approve.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Next, resolutions for 20-01, fireworks suspension.
Your Honor, I can take that. Members of the council, before you tonight is a proposed resolution that would suspend the general prohibition on the igniting of fireworks. This would be in connection with the Chamber of Commerce's Icy Bazaar, which is scheduled to be held later this month, January 21st through the 24th, 22nd through the 24th, excuse me, and the fireworks display will be on the 22nd. Special events permit has been granted previously by council for this event, and the passage of this resolution tonight will permit the fireworks display to go on as proposed.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Any further questions? Roll call on that one. Roll call, please.
Kinsfater,
Yes.
Kleeman,
Yes.
Kufa,
Yes.
Laporte,
Yes.
Bolts.
Yes.
Resolution adopted, Your Honor.
Next, reports from administration. Superintendent?
Just wanted to say Happy New Year to everybody in St. Clair. It's a new year, lots of exciting things on the horizon, and that's all I have this evening.
Thank you. Mr. Attorney?
Nothing this evening, Your Honor.
Thank you. City department heads? Chief?
Happy New Year, Council. I just want to share briefly, we have several overdoses in the city every year, and we have the opportunity now in 2022 to work with Odyssey House out of Port Huron. So I had Mr. Downey look at the information sharing agreement, and we're going to start working with them. All it requires from us is we report an overdose to them, and within 48 hours, myself or one of the day officers will take this packet of information out to the house and just offer it to them. And if we can help a citizen who's struggling with addiction, then it's a good thing. So there's no cost to the city, just a few minutes of our time whenever we have an overdose. So I just want to let you know that's what we're going to be doing.
Good. Thank you.
Okay, next item, reports from boards, commissions, committee members, chairman. Anyone have anything? Nothing, we'll move on. Unfinished business. New business. I believe, Warren, you're going to take this. Carney Drive and Jackson Street water main replacement.
Yes, Your Honor. I'll just introduce all three projects very quickly before we go into them one by one. We have 3 bids to award this evening. 2 are water main replacements that are critically needed and will be supported through the American Rescue Plan dollars we received this year. That's one possible funding source besides the water fund in itself. And then the third bid is for a valve exercising conditional assessment program. This is something we want to do. Eagle essentially told us we need to have a valve to exercising program in place. We want to start with contracting this out, get the initial batch of information, then build this into our annual maintenance schedule on how to repair the deficiencies that we find. So again, a very quick overview. First up, though, is a water main replacement on Carney Drive in Jackson. Mr. Kern from AEW is here to talk more about the project and answer any questions you may have, along with DPW Director Beath.
Good evening, council. First item is the Carney Drive and Jackson Street water main replacement. We've got the Carney Drive resurfacing project that's coming up this year where we're getting Economic Development Fund grant money for. Prior to that job starting, we wanted to replace the water main that runs underneath Carney Drive at Jackson Street. There's been a couple water main breaks there recently, so we want to replace that and get a new main in before we resurface the street. Murray Underground was a low bid out of the 7 bids that we received at $35,525. Our estimate on the project was between $35,000 and $40,000.
Questions from council?
One for Warren. You said you're not sure where the money's coming from? What was the 2 choices?
The water fund is the default source for water main work. The city did receive the American Rescue Plan funds from the Stimulus Act, and those funds can be used for water and sewer infrastructure projects. So at the end of the day, that's another funding source that we have as well.
Then my question with the rescue fund money, since it's coming from the federal government, is that now considered a job prevailing wage with the new law in the state of Michigan? When we're using federal money?
I'm unfamiliar with that.
Well, I would, if that's what you use the money from, it should affect these bids, right? People are gonna have to pay more money, or are they willing to pay it if these are now prevailing wage jobs with federal money?
I'm not familiar with the law that you are speaking of right now.
One that our governor just passed, she reinstated prevailing wage on all state and federal money spent. Stimulus money, I would believe, is from the federal government, so I would like an answer on it. They're willing to, if these do become prevailing wage job, are they willing to do it for $35,000?
The job was not set up for prevailing wage, no.
Well, my
Prevailing wage rates were not included in it.
My question is where the funds come from, it may be.
We'd have to look into that as far as if you were to use the ARPA funds. I'm not sure if that requires prevailing wage or not.
You have a comment?
I don't, I'm unfamiliar with the issue.
But we don't know that we're taking the money from there.
Correct. And for a project this
So
small.
are we in limbo on this, or what?
What was that?
Are we in limbo, or?
No, I think we can comfortably award the contracts to the bidder council chooses.
With the money coming out of the water fund?
I think
Sounds like we would have, to. I mean, you'll have to check into that, I'm assuming, and if we can't use that money, we can't, but at that price, I'm guessing.
Correct, yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve the bid of Murray for $35,525.
I'll support that.
Been moved and supported. Is there any more discussion? Call the roll, please.
Kleeman,
Yeah, I'm gonna vote yes on, that I'm gonna receive some information back on it, Warren.
Uffa,
Yes.
Volz,
Yes.
Kinsfater,
Yes.
Laporte,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, next one is a Fredmore Highway water main replacement. Turn it over to Mr. Kern on this one, too.
This means a similar situation where we've had some recent water main breaks on the Fredmore Highway water main in the vicinity of the Jordan Creek. There have been some difficult breaks to repair. We're trying to avoid having any additional repairs there. We also have the reconstruction of Fredmore Highway that's also slated for this year with federal aid assistance. So we're looking to replace the section of water main within the vicinity of the Jordan Creek by means of directional drilling. We had 8 bids received for that. Ben's Mighty Mole of Croswell, Michigan was the low bid. TR Piper's Act Company, the second low bid. We checked the references into Ben's Mighty Mole. They're a relatively newer company that's specialized more so with doing work as a subcontractor for electrical contractors, directional drilling conduits. They do have limited experience with municipal work. We did find out that they recently did some work in the city of Algonac, and Algonac was not happy with the work that they did. There were some issues with that work, and they had recommended to us not to move forward with Ben's Mighty Mole on this project, a very similar project that was done in Algonac, and Bob would have more information on that as he spoke with the DPW director in Algonac. But our recommendation is to award the second low bidder on this, TR Piper Zach. They are experienced, they've done work in the city. It is a local company here, and the subcontractor that they would be using for directional drilling, Bohr Brothers, is very experienced in this work and has done several municipal projects in the past.
Ryan, could you tell us what was the estimate for this project?
We were estimating just under $100,000 for this project.
You were?
Yes.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the bid to TR Piper Zach Company for $95,285.
I'll support that.
Been moved and supported.
I got a few questions, Mike. Just what was the problem they had with Algonac with them?
I know they're,
On your letter, you recommend them, and obviously you checked on references. How many references did you guys look at to
We-
make this decision?
yes, we checked into several of the electrical contractors they had worked with in the past. We got good references from them. They had done some work out at Selfridge International Guard Base. We did get some good references from them too. But again, it was smaller scale projects, not as deep. The utility being installed wasn't as deep here. Late last week, we were able to get a hold of Algonac and talk to them about some of the workmanship issues that they had. I know there were some issues with basically drilling. When they did the drilling of the water main, they failed to cap one of the ends, so the main filled with debris and mud, and it took several days for that to be cleaned out and be able to test and properly use that water main. There were also some issues as far as the operations of the drilling and not being able to meet the pipe from one end to the other, so there was some additional work that was involved there too. So there was a little, it sounds like maybe a little, some of their due diligence wasn't done during that project.
So obviously they finished the job.
Yes.
No extra cost to the city of Algonac, I would presume.
I doubt there was additional cost to the city. I would believe the contractor would have eaten any additional costs of those errors.
How many references did you say you spoke with?
We spoke with 4 or 5 different references.
Spoke to 4 or 5, and we get one out of Algonac. Well, we're gonna spend $22,000 more on one reference out of the city of Algonac.
Well, being the only municipality, I feel it's a pretty legitimate.
Yeah, I would say out of all those projects that we checked, the one in Algonac is the most similar to this project.
And I would presume that with this award, this contract would be performance bond?
There would be a performance bond, yes.
Something went south,
Yes,
it wouldn't cost the city a dime.
That's correct.
Than the original cost,
correct,
it would get finished.
correct.
I don't see spending $22,000 more for something. Out of a fund that, how much we have in the fund balance, Warren, in the water department, if that's who's paying for it?
I don't know that number off the top of my head today.
And we can afford to spend $22,000 more for the same thing?
It's ultimately council's choice on how to award this bid.
My thoughts are if a city of Algonac said don't use this contractor, I'm going to go with what they got to say. Somebody that close, that local. I mean, I know you gave us a little bit of the story, but there must be more to it, and I'm not comfortable using a contractor that somebody sat there and told me not to use. I don't know if you do that at home, but go ahead.
Did he upset somebody at the city of Algonac? You know, it's,
Yeah.
1 out of 6 ain't bad odds. And they come with the recommendation of the engineering firm, and obviously they did their homework, but,
Ben's is out of where?
pardon me?
Where's Ben's out of?
They're out of Croswell,
Piper Zach's local?
and they're out of China Township.
Any further questions?
Call the question.
Ready?
Okay, call the question. Roll call vote.
Kufa?
Yes.
Volts?
Yes.
Kinsfater?
Yes.
Kleeman?
No.
Laporte?
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you.
So go on to the next one. Valve exercising and condition assessment program. As Warren had mentioned earlier, this was something that Eagle had brought to the city's attention. That's something that needs to be addressed. To our knowledge, I don't think there's been a citywide valve exercising program that's been done here in the city. This program will allow the city to get a better understanding of the condition of the gate valves in the system. There's 375 within the entire city's system. we'd be able to prioritize any future improvements that might be needed and add that into the city's asset management plan that was required by Eagle here a couple years ago and needs to be updated at this point. We had 4 bids come in. The low bid was from Hydromax USA at $18,285. They're out of Omaha, Nebraska, but they specialize in this type of work. They do this work throughout the United States. They're currently doing work for Great Lakes Water Authority, City of Novi, out of state, City of Nashville, other larger cities in the U.S. So they've got the equipment and the capability to do this work. We did have quite a spread in the bids, as you can see.
That was one of my questions. How the heck does that happen?
The first 2 bidders, both those companies are very similar. They specialize in doing water asset management work. The other 2 bids that came in are local companies that are more underground contractors, don't necessarily specialize in doing assessment programs. They don't have the equipment to do the work. One of those contractors had mentioned in order for them to get the proper equipment to do the valve exercising that it would cost them $12,000 a month to rent that equipment, whereas the 2 contractors, the national contractors that specialize in this work, already have that equipment. So, I think the comparison is that the 2 low bidders, they specialize in this work versus the other 2 that don't necessarily specialize in this work.
Can you sort of fill us in exactly? I mean, it says they're doing valve exercising and valve condition assessment. What exactly? I mean, were we digging everything up?
No, there's no excavation involved. The exercising is basically turning the valves just to make sure that they still work or not. And then the assessment is basically just doing it.
$600 a valve to do that, and the other one charges $40.
Right.
Freaking crazy.
Right. We did check too, as far as the 2 low bids. We did look at some of the recent projects that they have done and bid and some of those projects too. And the numbers that they presented to us are very similar to the numbers that were awarded to those communities as well.
What was your idea of how much this was going to cost?
We estimated $30,000 to $40,000.
The timeline, how long is it going to take them?
I don't necessarily have an answer on that, but I don't see it taking very long, just because there's not that many valves.
That's why I'm asking. And you say there's 75 valves that they're looking at?
375, yeah.
75 valves?
Right, yes. Yeah, I don't see it taking very long. This would be a smaller project for them, and they're doing projects.
Do we know where all these valves are at? Or are they going to be looking for them?
If there are some that are buried, we would identify that ahead of time and have those uncovered if that's the case.
And my concern was in the difference in the.
I mean, that's something that really jumps out at you.
Something that we don't know what they're doing, one of the 2.
Right.
That caught my attention too.
Right.
It's coming out of the water fund, Warren?
Yes.
Being out of Omaha, Nebraska, is it going to take them longer to get here to start the job or no?
They're currently working in Detroit and Novi, so they do have crews working locally here.
And then before we move on again, I just want to say that, when Bob and I meet with Eagle, when we talk about our long-term maintenance plans, this is something that Eagle stresses that we haven't been doing. They want to see us doing. We thought it made the most sense to have a contractor come in with the special equipment, do all the identification, the testing, and again, that way going forward, we can do this ourselves and, divide the city into districts and, okay, this year we're going to exercise this part of town. We'll also fix the ones that we identify that were broken or not functioning, optimally. So again, this is the first step in taking care of our infrastructure so we can continue to take care of, everybody else. So it's really important, and I'm excited for this project to be done.
No more questions?
I'll make a motion to approve the bid from Hydromax for $18,285.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Any further discussion? Roll call vote.
Folds,
Yes.
Kinsfater,
Yes.
Kleeman,
Yes.
Kufa,
Yes.
Laporte,
Yes.
carried, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next thing, we have boards and commissions. We have some changes. The Historical Commission reappoint Ed Neiman for a 3-year term expiring December 31st, 2023. Dan Lockwood to fulfill the remainder of a 3-year term expiring December 31st on 2022. The Housing Commission, election of officers for a term from December to June to align with our financial year. To reflect the change in the following expiration dates, the current members need to be confirmed. Paul Wade expires June 30th of 2025. Brian Brackett?
Arsick.
Arsick, okay, to expire June 30th, 2023. And newly appointed D. Kent Bacon to expire on June 30th of 2024.
Are these all city residents?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Support.
Been moved and supported. We can just, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None.
Opposed? Thank you. Claims and accounts, December 22nd and 29th.
If there's no questions, I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Mike?
Yep.
I'm opposed. No vote on the claims and accounts, you didn't ask.
Oh, I'm sorry. Back up? No. Yeah,
No, you're good.
no. Okay.
It's noted.
Next item on the agenda, public questions, comments. Anyone want to address this board? Hearing none, we'll move on. Mayor, council members, announcements?
I just got a couple of things. First off, I want to thank Bob Beath and his crew. I think they did an excellent job taking care of the snow this weekend, especially it being a holiday weekend, so thank you. I also want to thank Chief Raker and his guys with National Law Enforcement Day coming up January 9th, so I just want to say thank you and your guys, everything you guys do.
Anyone else?
Very nice.
I have one, we have the passing of Gene Goulin. He served as a senior bus driver, and he was also on the golf committee. He passed on New Year's Eve, I believe, right? Yeah, he'll be
I'm not
missed.
sure.
Then, next thing, I'll ask for a motion to go into closed session to confer with legal counsel the purpose of discussing pending litigation.
So moved.
Support.
Roll call vote?
Folds?
Yes.
Kinsfater?
Yes.
Kleeman?
Yes.
Kufa?
Yes.
Laporte?
Yes.
Carried, Your Honor.
Thank you. If you want to stay around for the fireworks afterwards, fine. If not,
We're meeting in here.
yes, we ask you to leave, and
Come back.
anybody wants to stay upstairs, we'll come and get you when it's over.